Chapter 2. The Puzzle of Truth. What exactly is truth, and why does it matter? As philosopher Ken Wilber writes, there are important relative truths, and there are important intrinsic truths. At first glance, the concept of truth seems straightforward, factual, correct, and genuine. However, upon closer examination, we find that truth is a complex, often elusive and widely debated notion. Understanding truth requires exploring it from various perspectives. One aspect of truth is universal and objective, existing independently of human perception. This includes indisputable facts, mathematical proofs, and empirical laws of nature. Yet, even in science, what is considered truth can evolve with new discoveries and changing paradigms. Across different eras and cultures, certain ethical and existential truths have formed the basis of human understanding. However, post-colonial theory offers a critical perspective on how dominant cultures have historically imposed their worldviews, overshadowing the diversity of truths in various societies. Post-colonial theory examines the cultural impacts of colonialism and imperialism, highlighting how colonial powers often enforce their beliefs and value systems on indigenous populations as the singular truth. This approach challenges the notion of a monopolized truth, emphasizing that dominant cultures can, under the guise of truth, invalidate the perspectives and traditions of other cultures. For instance, colonialists might assert the superiority of their religion or moral values, dismissing indigenous beliefs as illegitimate. They might also label their cultural practices as civilized, deeming native customs inferior. The theory underscores the problem of a singular truth imposed by powerful groups. This monopolization often serves self-interest rather than factual accuracy or moral righteousness, disrespecting the richness of global cultural diversity. Therefore, post-colonial theory warns against the danger of any one worldview claiming exclusive ownership of truth. It advocates for the respect and acknowledgement of diverse perspectives, urging humility in recognizing the biases and limitations inherent in each culture's interpretation of truth. Asserting a single version of truth risks justifying the suppression of alternative viewpoints. Absolutist assumptions about truth should thus be held loosely. But this need not lead to the extreme relativism rejecting universal truths. Despite the diversity of perspectives, there seem to be shared truths that resonate universally among humanity. The collective endeavor of acquiring knowledge is anchored in certain agreed-upon truths, even though these are imperfect and open to revision. In its ideal form, the pursuit of truth is a humble journey. It involves holding strong convictions yet remaining receptive to new ideas, earnestly seeking truth while recognizing our own fallibility, and striving to find commonality while respecting differing viewpoints. This earnest quest for truth is vital for human progress, even though complete understanding of truth may always be just out of reach. As the poet John Moriarty eloquently stated, truth comes to us in hints and guesses. This suggests that our collective navigation of these hints, while always mindful of the limitations inherent in any single perspective, might indeed be the nuanced art of approaching truth. What kinds of truth does this refer to? The concept of truth likely extends beyond mere factual accuracy. The quote by John Moriarty suggests that truth encompasses deeper aspects of life, purpose, and meaning. These truths emerge from various sources: careful observation, spiritual insights, the human conscience, and collective wisdom. They are truths that surpass cultural and background differences. They encompass universal values like human dignity, justice, and compassion, and fundamental principles such as cause and effect, sowing and reaping, and the interconnectedness of all things. These truths reflect the objective reality of the world around us, representing more than just subjective wishes or opinions about how we would like things to be. Why understanding the value of truth so important? In the absence of shared truths, society risks fracturing into factions driven by subjective biases. Progress hinges on our ability to cooperate towards common objectives, which in turn relies on acknowledging universal truths applicable to everyone. Truth serves as a stable foundation upon which we can construct ideas, societies, and individual lives. It helps us discern wisdom from folly. In contrast, a stance of complete relativism leaves us directionless, vulnerable to the ever-shifting currents of thought. In this context, the truth acts as a steadfast anchor, providing stability and direction. Defining the truth. Truth, in its purest form, is straightforward and enduring. As defined in dictionaries, it aligns precisely with reality. It represents what something or someone genuinely is. Truth is steadfast. It does not waver based on circumstances or perceptions, but remains constant. This simplicity and consistency are what make truth both reliable and crucial. Although secondary details and interpretations might differ, the fundamental essence of truth remains fixed and unwavering. It does not mold itself to suit personal preferences or the changing tides of culture. Instead, it provides a stabilizing force in life. The objectivity of truth frees us from being swayed by a myriad of conflicting ideas. By grounding ourselves in what is genuinely real and certain, we find a solid base in the midst of uncertainty. Wisdom lies in recognizing absolute truth as an unshakable foundation upon which to build. Admittedly, fully comprehending truth with our limited perspective is challenging. However, we can strive to orient our lives around its unyielding core, valuing its integrity and factual basis. In aligning with this core truth, we find our way through a complex world. Consider the example of an apple. The concept of an apple is universally understood. Regardless of language, people can visualize and describe the fruit, and its taste is commonly recognized. While apples may vary in color, their fundamental shape and flavor identify them definitively as apples. This is an illustration of truth in its simplest, most unmistakable form. Truth, absolute or subjective. Truth serves as a pivotal guiding principle in both ethical conduct and practical affairs. However, it's important to recognize that not all truths are of the same kind. There are distinct categories, namely absolute and subjective truth, each with its own role and application. These types of truth work together, complementing each other in shaping our character and guiding us through the complexities of the world. Absolute truth forms the backbone of moral character, providing an unwavering standard for ethical behavior. It requires us to align our words and actions with these non-negotiable truths. On the other hand, subjective truth plays a critical role in practical matters, especially in adapting to personal circumstances and environments for survival and success. It involves understanding and respecting personal and situational perspectives, which may vary from one individual to another. Together, these two categories of truth, absolute and subjective, complement each other, fostering a balance between ethical integrity and practical adaptability. This balance is crucial for navigating life's myriad challenges while maintaining a strong moral compass. Absolute truth. To cultivate and uphold a virtuous character, one must not only have good intentions but also consistently act upon them with integrity. True virtue is about more than mere intention. It involves actively living out one's values in every facet of life. A virtuous individual aligns their speech, behavior, and inner motivations with moral excellence, committing to a truthful and ethical way of life. It's not just about aspiring to be virtuous, but genuinely walking the path of ethical conduct. Maintaining a virtuous character requires continuous, mindful effort to turn the abstract ideal of virtue into a tangible reality reflected in daily actions. For truth to maintain its significance, it must have a clear and consistent definition, independent of relativism. Absolute truth, unaltered by individual perspectives, represents factual reality based on evidence, not subject to varying viewpoints. If we define truth as the alignment of beliefs and statements with facts, it leaves no room for personal interpretation. One's true character is thus reflected in actions that unbiasedly mirror their assertions. Absolute truth refers to information that is objectively factual and empirically verifiable, existing independently of personal beliefs or perceptions. It represents reality as it objectively is, beyond our individual awareness. These unchanging truths form the bedrock of virtues such as wisdom, integrity, and justice, providing steadfast ethical benchmarks for moral growth. When truth is perceived as relative, it forfeits its role as an objective criterion for evaluating claims and guiding conduct. Framing truth as absolute, not subject to fluctuation, preserves its fundamental role as a consistent yardstick for discerning accuracy. Defining truth in absolute terms safeguards its critical function as a steadfast reference point for aligning our intentions and claims with the factual world. Subjective truth. The distinction between subjective and objective truths is crucial in understanding how we perceive and interact with the world. Subjective truths are based on personal experiences, interpretations, and preferences. They are relative and variable, shaped by one's unique perspective. This type of truth applies to matters like aesthetics, emotions dealing with the physically consistency of the physical matters, values of how objects are worth, and personal tastes. Claims about beauty, meaning material matters, or etiquette typically fall into this category. Conversely, objective truths aim to be factual, verifiable, and independent of individual viewpoints. They include scientific facts, mathematical proofs, historical dates, striving for objectivity. Most importantly, the fixed understanding of how or what behavior standards should be. A common issue arises when subjective truths are misconstrued as objective, leading individuals to mistakenly universalize their personal perspectives. This highlights the importance of epistemic humility and critical thinking in assessing truth claims. Rigorous inquiry and peer review are crucial in distinguishing subjective opinions from objective knowledge. Subjective truths add to the richness of human experience through their diversity, while objective truths offer stable reference points for navigating our shared reality. Balancing these two types of truth is key to both individual and collective well-being. They can complement each other when held in a thoughtful and balanced relationship. Subjective truth is vital in relating to our personal experiences and environment, despite not representing universal facts. Different individuals can hold diverse personal truths about the same situation, reflecting their unique experiences and perspectives. While objective truth provides a steadfast guide for moral character, subjective perspectives allow for a variety of valid interpretations and assessments in personal and tangible matters. Acknowledging the subjectivity of certain truths is important for valuing different perspectives and avoiding the pitfall of false absolutism in areas where relativity prevails. It fosters a richness of understanding across individuals from diverse backgrounds. Therefore, subjective truth springs from individual viewpoints, emotions, and experiences. These personal truths facilitate multiple valid interpretations and are deeply rooted in the uniqueness of each individual's experiences, enabling nuanced decision-making and meaning-making. The important aspect of how subjective values and principles can manifest in objective, observable behaviors. When an individual claims to hold a certain value, like kindness, their actions and consistent behavior can serve as objective evidence of their adherence to that value. Subjective values and objective verification. Subjective values, values like kindness, honesty, or integrity are subjective in nature. They are personal beliefs or principles that an individual holds important. Objective verification, through behavior. Consistent actions. The objective verification of a subjective value like kindness comes through consistent behavior. If a person values kindness, this should be evident in their regular interactions with others, regardless of how they are treated in return. Universality and application. True adherence to a value like kindness is tested in its application to all situations, not just favorable ones. If a person is kind only to those who are kind to them, it challenges the universality of their kindness. Setting boundaries. Being kind does not equate to permitting all types of interactions. A kind person can also set healthy boundaries. This means they may choose not to engage further in interactions that are harmful or disrespectful, yet they do so in a manner that remains true to their value of kindness. Example scenario. Let's consider an example. If Alice values kindness, she consistently treats others with kindness, whether they are friends, strangers, or even those who may not treat her well. Her behavior remains kind and compassionate in all interactions. However, if she encounters a situation where she is disrespected or mistreated, she might choose to disengage or address the issue assertively, yet she does so without compromising her intrinsic kindness. Broader implications. This concept applies broadly in understanding how our internal values are reflected in our external actions. It emphasizes that while values are subjective, their manifestation can be objectively observed and verified through consistent behavior. This approach allows for a more nuanced understanding of an individual's character and the authenticity of their proclaimed values. It also highlights the importance of maintaining personal integrity and the balance between living by one's values and setting healthy boundaries. The differences between absolute and subjective truth. Absolute truths consist of scientifically verified facts and universal constants. Examples include the Earth's orbit around the Sun, the force of gravity causing objects to fall, and mathematical truths like 2 + 2 = 4. Historical facts, such as the dates of wars or the birthdays of historical figures, also fall into this category. These truths are non-negotiable and grounded in objective reality. Adhering to these truths fosters virtues such as honesty and contributes to the development of moral character. In contrast, subjective truths are more context-dependent and personal. Perceptions of beauty in art, for instance, are subjective, varying based on individual experiences and sensibilities. Similarly, opinions about the taste and quality of food differ from person to person. Subjective truths play a significant role in decision-making and meaning-making. For example, a person might decide to watch a movie based on a critic's positive review, which reflects the critic's personal opinion about the film's artistic merit. Subjective truths also encompass individual interpretations of literature, music, and symbols. These elements can hold different meanings for different people, influenced by their unique perspectives. Acknowledging the subjective nature of these truths fosters open-mindedness, encourages debate, and celebrates diversity. While absolute truth underpins moral principles and the foundational aspects of life, subjective truth is essential for practical and personal decision-making. By integrating these two types of truth, we support ethical integrity through absolute truth, while applying personal perspectives to the relative aspects of the material world. This integration enables both strong moral character and adaptability to situational nuances. There's a world of difference between truth and facts. Facts can obscure the truth. Maya Angelou, Truth versus Facts. People often find that their factual accomplishments can overshadow the essence of their true selves, as noted by the renowned American author, poet, and civil rights activist. For instance, the titles associated with corporate positions people hold are factual. However, these titles are transient. They exist only for a certain period and, by definition, they do not encapsulate the entirety of a person's identity. Such designations, though achieved and bestowed by others, do not fill the existential void that one might feel. It's crucial to distinguish between truth and facts. Truth possesses a timeless quality, enduring through the ages, while facts depend on truth for their foundation, but do not necessarily have the same enduring nature. Take, for instance, the statement, "I am the CEO." When actively holding the CEO position at a company, this statement is both factual and truthful. However, once you leave that position, claiming the title of CEO is no longer accurate, even though it was a fact in the past. Facts are context-dependent and tied to specific moments in time, whereas truth has a more enduring, constant quality. God's wisdom, the whole truth. Perspective on navigating between absolute and relative truth. Jesus employs vivid metaphors in the New Testament to articulate a profound spiritual truth, that He is the exclusive means to salvation and spiritual fulfillment. In John 10, Jesus refers to Himself as the gate for the sheep, symbolizing His role as the sole point of access to safety and sustenance for His followers. This imagery is distinct in conveying that only through Jesus can one come in and go out, finding security, in contrast to the ineffectual thieves and robbers, a reference to false messiahs. This metaphor is further expanded when Jesus states that He is the way, the truth, and the life, reiterating His position as the unique path to enlightenment and eternal life. These statements firmly establish Jesus as the exclusive gateway to redemption, using imagery that was particularly meaningful in the biblical era. A shepherd, symbolically representing Jesus, would physically lie across the sheepfold's entrance, acting as a gate to protect the sheep from predators. Thus, Jesus is portrayed as the living gateway, willingly sacrificing Himself for the believer's salvation. As the way, He guides followers out of darkness, leading them towards truth and a life of abundance. Whether depicted as a gate or a path, the message is unequivocal. Redemption is attainable solely through complete reliance on the divine path that Jesus represents. These teachings emphasize that there are no alternative paths to salvation. The metaphors of Jesus as both the gate and the road reinforce the idea that only through adherence to Him can one find protection, fulfillment, and reconciliation with God. Any attempts to circumvent or supplement His path are strongly cautioned against. Jesus warns of the dangers posed by following thieves and robbers or relying on other guides. Ultimately, salvation in Christian doctrine hinges on acknowledging Jesus as the definitive, albeit narrow, passage to redemption. Faithfully following Jesus' teachings, His way, truth, and life promises spiritual nourishment and the hope of eternal life. Christ's conviction and compassion. Jesus Christ emerged as a figure of profound moral conviction, yet also one characterized by grace and openness. His teachings and actions exemplified a balance between steadfast truths and contextual compassion. In matters of faith, Jesus exhibited unwavering conviction, positioning himself as the embodiment of complete truth, the way, the truth, and the life, essential for eternal salvation. He claimed divine authority to challenge and reform corrupt religious practices. However, Jesus also advocated for love over strict legalism, emphasizing the spirit rather than the letter of divine law. He critiqued moral standards that were hypocritically imposed or devoid of empathy, focusing instead on core virtues like mercy, justice, and sincerity. In addressing social issues, Christ struck a balance between timeless scriptural truths and situational sensitivity. He treated women, children, and marginalized groups with respect, challenging the rigid societal norms of his time. Jesus transcended cultural and tribal divisions, using parables that focused on universal human experiences. Even in addressing sin, Christ emphasized inner transformation over mere rule following. He extended grace to those who showed repentance, embracing those often excluded from religious communities. His approach was to draw people towards a holistic vision of God's ideal rather than merely enforcing rigid perfection. Jesus anchored his revolutionary message in God's unchanging truth, yet he infused it with compassion, wisdom, and a challenge to pride and legalism. He skillfully integrated doctrinal fidelity with empathetic understanding of context. This approach serves as a model for followers today. Adhering to foundational truths does not exclude the possibility of openness, nuanced understanding, and growth. Similarly, promoting tolerance and pluralism should not come at the expense of losing moral clarity. Navigating the balance between Christ's timeless teachings and his compassionate response to contemporary challenges remains a narrow but essential path. Values and truth alignment. Life is an ongoing journey of self-discovery, where we learn who we truly are and how we fit into the broader scheme of things. To live out our purpose and make a meaningful impact, it's essential to first understand our authentic selves. As discussed in the previous chapter, it's common to adopt identities out of a sense of obligation rather than in alignment with our inner truth. Pursuing achievements and status may satisfy our egos temporarily, but true fulfillment and wholeness stem from within. This journey of self-discovery begins with a deep examination of our core values, the moral principles that guide our interaction with the world. However, it's important that these values are truly our own, not merely beliefs we've adopted from external influences. Developing self-awareness allows us to align these values with our unique talents and callings, enabling us to fully live out our personal truths. At the heart of this process is the fundamental question, who are you? In answering this, we often discover that the persona we present to the world is merely a facade masking our true selves. By stripping away layers of societal expectations and conditioning, we can reveal the core of our being. We should reflect on what principles genuinely resonate with us, what brings us joy and purpose, and which inherited beliefs conflict with our inner compass. This chapter introduces exercises designed to help you uncover your true self and realign all aspects of your life with a more complete understanding of truth. This journey towards authenticity provides the clarity needed to act from a place of genuine self-expression. Embracing this process allows you to boldly navigate your life's path on your own terms, rather than merely following a preordained, effortless route. Orienting towards your inner truth is the crucial first step in living a purposeful life and realizing your fullest potential. We start by examining the 9 core values, which will be delved into more deeply later in this book. Reflect on whether these values resonate with your true self. If discrepancies arise, have the courage to make changes that honor your deepest, most authentic self. Truth and freedom are intertwined. When we hold truth in high regard, we develop a keen desire to seek and speak it. As a result, we become increasingly uncomfortable with falsehood, omission, and ambiguity. Our commitment to truth leads us to illuminate reality through earnest inquiry, honesty, and transparency. On a societal level, valuing truth fosters an environment conducive to openness, justice, and human flourishing. Truth acts as a bedrock for meaningful progress. However, as we deepen our appreciation for truth, our understanding becomes more expansive. This growth in understanding is accompanied by an increase in humility and curiosity. Wisdom and cooperation begin to thrive, leading to greater freedom and fulfillment. As we continue on this path, the way forward becomes clearer and more focused. The highest value of truth lies in its ability to point beyond itself towards what is most accurate, enduring, and vital for life. In embracing truth, we provide a solid foundation for progress, anchoring our journey in what is genuinely real and significant. Sharp words, a double-edged sword. Arguments can indeed be likened to a double-edged sword, potent and dual in nature. Used skillfully, they can cut through confusion, clearly delineating truth from falsehood. Yet, if wielded thoughtlessly, they can damage relationships, leaving deep divides. Arguments, when honed and applied wisely, serve valuable purposes. Engaging in logical debates can sharpen our collective intellect and expose inadequate or erroneous beliefs. This intellectual sparring, much like a sword, requires precision and wisdom. However, the temptation often lies in engaging in trivial disputes, using our words more for victory in minor disagreements than for meaningful discourse. Such misuse of argumentation can fracture relationships, undermining unity and connection. A wise person recognizes that winning an argument over subjective matters often yields only a hollow triumph, especially if it comes at the expense of human connection. Responsible argumentation, akin to a warrior's mastery of the sword, demands careful judgment and empathy. It involves discerning which disagreements merit robust debate and which are best approached with a gentler hand. In nurturing healthy relationships, understanding and empathy should take precedence over proving oneself right. Before engaging in an argument, we should consider the importance of the issue, our intentions, and how to maintain respect even in disagreement. The sword of argument should be wielded to uphold truth while avoiding unnecessary conflict and damage. In a society increasingly marked by division, the need for discerning and judicious use of arguments is paramount. Let us wisely choose the battles worth fighting and handle contentious discussions in ways that foster healing and understanding. For just as a sword can protect or destroy, so too can our words. They hold the power to either safeguard or unnecessarily wound. Discerning the truth. True discernment leading to wise judgments and actions is not a matter of chance. It necessitates deliberate cultivation, grounded in self-awareness and adherence to moral principles. This journey of discernment begins with introspection, taking time to identify and understand one's core values and beliefs. What do you hold as fundamentally important? What do you perceive as right, good, and true? Such self-examination lays the groundwork for a moral compass. Principles are more than abstract concepts. They are deeply felt convictions that inform our actions. Once these principles are firmly established, they enable us to evaluate situations with greater objectivity. In decision-making, It's crucial to thoughtfully consider various viewpoints and critically assess the evidence. Challenging our assumptions and recognizing personal biases are key steps. Broad and fair thinking, underpinned by intellectual rigor, is what distinguishes discernment from impulsive decision-making. However, reliance on intellect alone is not enough. Discernment is enriched by integrating intuition, that inner sense which transcends mere facts and logic. Intuition taps into the wisdom gleaned from past experiences, offering a gut feeling that aligns with your principles. The synthesis of critical thinking and intuitive insight leads to more profound understanding. Consulting trusted individuals for advice is another valuable aspect of wise discernment. People who understand you and share your values can offer insights into whether certain choices are consistent with your principles. Embrace their viewpoints with humility and seek truth collaboratively. Before taking action, pause to thoroughly consider the potential consequences. Reflect on how each option might affect others and which choice contributes to the greater good rather than merely serving self-interest. Decisions should be aligned with your established principles and values. For many, prayer is also a crucial element of discernment, inviting divine guidance into the decision-making process. Seeking wisdom and truth through prayer broadens the scope of human understanding, fostering a closer alignment between choices and beliefs. In summary, principled discernment is a patient process. Clarity often emerges gradually, allowing time for thoughtful reflection and careful consideration. When the path forward becomes clear, act decisively, transforming principles into tangible action. Discerning truth's principles, the gray. Life often presents us with complex dilemmas where the path of truth and integrity isn't always immediately apparent. The temptation to compromise our values to navigate the ambiguous gray areas between right and wrong can be strong. However, such compromises can lead to the inner turmoil of living a life misaligned with our core values. True and lasting fulfillment is found by steadfastly anchoring ourselves in the firm principles of truth. Truth provides clear guideposts that cut through moral ambiguity. By understanding our values and ensuring that our thoughts, words, and actions are in harmony with virtue, we lay down a solid foundation of consistent character. From this stable base, we develop the discernment needed to see through deceptions masquerading as wisdom and manipulations dressed as love. We choose to live authentically rather than hypocritically. Upholding timeless and universal principles, such as honesty, compassion, justice, and selflessness, shields us from fleeting and distorted cultural trends. We become beacons of morality, guiding ourselves and others towards humanity's highest aspirations. Our relationships thrive on trust, and we rest with a clear conscience. Naturally, as imperfect beings, we may occasionally falter. Yet, acknowledging our mistakes, making reparations, and realigning ourselves with truth keeps us on the right path. We should also extend patience to those who are navigating their own moral journeys. True discernment involves deep self-reflection and a readiness to embrace change. While the journey can be challenging, it is deeply rewarding. By prioritizing principles over ego, we sow seeds that will mature into our best selves. In this pursuit, we find truth in the adage, "The truth has set us free." Fostering discernment. Discernment is an art form, essential for leading a life grounded in integrity. When it is based on firmly held values, discernment becomes a transformative force, turning beliefs into wise and ethical actions. Like any skill, discernment requires practice and intentionality, but it can be cultivated as a reliable moral compass to steer a principled existence. Although mastering discernment takes consistent effort, It is a crucial element in living and leading with integrity. By staying anchored in our principles and applying wisdom to our decisions, we are better equipped to choose the right course of action in various situations. Discernment defined. Critical thinking. This involves a methodical evaluation of information, ideas, and advice using logic, questioning, and analysis. It requires uncovering underlying assumptions, scrutinizing evidence, and considering diverse interpretations. Critical thinking allows for an objective assessment of arguments, providing an intellectual foundation for discernment. It helps in digging beneath the surface to make sense of various situations and advice. Intuition. This is an inner understanding or gut feeling that offers insights about the truth or value of something, often deriving from deep experience. Intuition can emerge spontaneously or through deliberate inner reflection. While capturing nuances that may elude pure logic, intuition enhances critical thinking by valuing the accumulated wisdom of emotions, instincts, and impressions. In discernment, it acts as an emotional counterbalance to pure rationality. Self-awareness. Being cognizant of one's own assumptions, motivations, values, and biases is crucial for effective discernment. It helps in recognizing and overcoming subconscious biases that might skew our judgments. Self-awareness is instrumental in preventing self-deception and recognizing blind spots, ensuring that our discernment is aligned with our principles, not just our ego. It allows us to sift advice through the filter of our deepest values. Curiosity. Approaching life with an open and inquisitive mindset is key to discernment. It involves asking thoughtful questions, challenging old assumptions, and embracing new knowledge. Curiosity prevents rigid judgments and close-mindedness, fostering the humility necessary for truly evaluating different perspectives. It infuses the process of discernment with a sense of discovery and a willingness to grow. Patience. Discernment often requires the calm endurance of uncertainty and the resistance to quick conclusions. Patience allows for a comprehensive consideration of evidence, options, and guidance. It also provides the necessary time for the entire picture to emerge, essential for making well-informed decisions. In the realm of spiritual discernment, patience is particularly important as divine guidance may unfold gradually. Prayerfulness. For those with spiritual beliefs, prayerfulness is a vital aspect of discernment. Engaging in prayer invites divine wisdom into the decision-making process. It opens one's mind to insights beyond personal limitations. Prayer seeks to illuminate God's will and align personal judgments with divine truth, countering self-interest and enabling spiritual discernment. Values and principles. Established wise judgments. Self-reflection. Dedicate time to clarify your core values and principles. Reflect deeply on what is most important to you and your beliefs about what is right and good. Cultivating self-awareness is a fundamental step in this process. Study principles. Engage with various disciplines like philosophy, religion, and psychology to understand the foundations of discernment. Explore different perspectives on ethics, wisdom, and sound judgment. Assess objectively. When making a decision, objectively evaluate all aspects of the situation. Critically examine the evidence, question any assumptions, and be aware of potential biases. Balance intellect and intuition. Utilize both logic and critical thinking for analysis, but also tune into your intuition. Your inner sense can provide insights into what feels right or wrong. Ensure your decisions are in harmony with your values. Consult others. Seek advice from mentors and trusted advisors who understand you and share your principles. Approach their guidance with humility and an open mind. Anticipate consequences. Thoughtfully consider the potential outcomes of each option. Assess how well each aligns with your values and contemplate which choice contributes to the greater good. Pray for wisdom. For those who are spiritual, incorporate prayer in seeking guidance. Ask for divine help in discerning the best path forward and for your choices to be aligned with truth and conviction. Wait patiently. Resist the urge to make hasty decisions. Give yourself the time needed for discernment to fully develop and for clarity to naturally emerge. Act decisively. Once you have discerned the appropriate direction, proceed with confidence. Implement your decision with courage and a firm commitment to your chosen path. Boundary within truth. Life is full of blurred lines, from managing finances to navigating relationships. In a world where numerous influences can erode our ethics, it's crucial to uphold personal boundaries, guided by time-honored principles. These enduring teachings, tested and validated over centuries, continue to serve as effective guardrails in our modern world. For instance, in financial matters, scriptural principles discourage debt accumulation, co-signing loans, and speculative ventures. Though ancient, these guidelines can prevent contemporary pitfalls like bankruptcy and overwhelming stress. Similarly, relationship directives found in sacred texts, such as fidelity in marriage, sexual restraint, and honest communication, offer protection against betrayal and emotional turmoil. In the business world, practices like accountability help reduce fraud, while virtues like patience and forgiveness in friendships foster trust. These principles, while requiring thoughtful application, establish healthy boundaries in various aspects of life. Universal values like prudence, temperance, and unselfishness transcend explicit rules. These virtues guide us away from excess and toward stability, whether in financial planning or supporting others. In relationships, prioritizing others' needs over our own reduces conflict. Ethical stewardship of family finances ensures long-term security. It's important to note that rigid adherence without context can be counterproductive. The Golden Rule, for example, emphasizes the need for contextual sensitivity. Flexibility within these guidelines is crucial, but it's distinctly different from having no boundaries. Ignoring generational wisdom often leads to isolation, relational strife, or financial hardship. Applying time-tested truths thoughtfully yet creatively provides a foundation of stability. Enduring values, deeply ingrained in our lives, yield positive outcomes in both personal relationships and financial decisions. They help us filter out short-term self-interest and short-sightedness. Establishing these boundaries requires effort, but wisely constructed, they create a balance of freedom and security. In today's uncertain world, the pillars of ancient wisdom remain indispensable. Whether in our finances or family life, we need guardrails capable of withstanding challenges from the past, present, and future. Life's gray areas call for discernment. Absolute relativism is risky. Navigating complexity necessitates a moral compass. The teachings and values passed down through millennia continue to offer invaluable guidance for our boundaries. When we ground our lives in principles of human dignity, stewardship, and temperance, the most valuable aspects of our existence can flourish, enduring for generations. The root of insecurities. Navigating insecurity through the anchorage of truth and sound principles. Insecurity, a common human experience, is often marked by doubts, anxiety, and fluctuating self-confidence. These feelings frequently stem from a disparity between our perceptions and absolute truths. To cultivate stability in our lives, it's crucial to ground ourselves in well-established principles and moral absolutes. Insecurity often arises when our beliefs deviate from reality, veering into delusions, conspiracy theories, or distorted thinking. This detachment from factual truths, whether related to our self-image or our understanding of the world, leaves our emotions adrift and vulnerable. Trauma, too, can disrupt our trust and understanding of truth, leading to ongoing confusion and pain. Without a strong foundation in ethical and existential truths, our decisions and beliefs become unmoored, breeding further instability. Fear-based thinking exacerbates this, magnifying perceived threats and hindering the development of enduring self-confidence. However, true security is attained when we align our internal world with timeless wisdom. Virtues such as courage, honesty, and compassion provide strong pillars for our existence. By establishing our identity and viewpoints on the firm foundation of moral truth, we gain the resilience needed to face life's adversities. This alignment demands effort, engaging in reflective thinking, gathering facts, and strengthening our spiritual foundations through study and introspection. It entails identifying and actively replacing delusional thoughts with principles grounded in reality. Rooting ourselves in these fundamental truths cultivates confidence, while adherence to falsehoods results in aimless drifting. With dedicated care, we can build an inner fortress anchored in truth, both moral and factual. The enduring principles that have withstood time's test offer reliable building blocks for our character. Consistently applying these principles cements them within our psyche, equipping us to confront life's storms. Establishing a foundation based on truth guides our actions with purpose and clarity. Firmly standing on this moral ground, we find our minds soothed from incessant worries. In the tranquility that truth bestows, we find the space to achieve our highest potential. Key points. Insecurity often stems from a lack of solid grounding in truthful principles and facts, leading to feelings of uncertainty and anxiety. Even with knowledge of the truth, insecurity can persist if there is a lack of belief or trust in these truths, leading to shaky confidence in absolutes. Traumatic experiences can exacerbate insecurity by causing confusion and instability in one's sense of truth, with past delusions undermining certainty. A mind unmoored from definitive truth for prolonged periods can breed doubts and anxiety. A lack of absolutes to stand on exacerbates feelings of insecurity. True confidence and security arise from basing perspectives and decisions on unchanging truths and moral principles. Insecurity indicates a disconnection from stabilizing truths. Strengthening confidence in core virtues and engaging in honest self-reflection can help overcome this. Grounding oneself firmly in reality and moral principles is key to developing strong confidence and overcoming uncertainty. Synonyms and truth. A word stands like an island, self-contained but somewhat isolated in its meaning. Synonyms act as bridges, linking this isolated word to a broader mainland of understanding. They serve to elucidate, broaden, and enrich our grasp of language. Synonyms place a word within a network of related meanings. Consider the word ecstatic. Its synonyms, joyful, gleeful, delighted, and elated, help clarify its nuances. Each synonym brings out subtle distinctions. Ecstatic implies an intense, rapturous joy, whereas delighted suggests a milder, contented happiness. Exploring the array of synonyms surrounding a word also enhances our comprehension. For instance, contrasting ecstatic with its antonyms like forlorn, sullen, or distraught sheds light on its meaning. This juxtaposition of linguistic opposites sharpens our understanding of a word's full dimensions. Learning synonyms can exponentially expand vocabulary, akin to the way compound interest grows savings. Each new synonym enriches and deepens our understanding of the others. They act as mental cues, reinforcing word retention through associative learning. Moreover, synonyms demonstrate the flexibility of language. They show that multiple words can validly express the same concept. This diversity is not redundant. Instead, it provides writers and speakers with a rich palette of diction. Such versatility in language choice not only enhances expression but also solidifies understanding. Ultimately, a word's meaning is not a static entity but a dynamic one, enriched by its linguistic context. Synonyms are like the threads that interconnect words in a vibrant and interdependent ecosystem of meanings. Synonyms broaden perspectives, expanding vocabulary. A diverse array of synonyms enhances your ability to express ideas with greater precision and nuance. This variety allows you to avoid overusing common words, providing subtle distinctions in meaning that can broaden one's perspective. Emphasizing meaning. Selecting synonyms with slightly different connotations can emphasize various aspects of an idea. For instance, choosing asserted over claimed or distraught instead of sad shapes the reader's or listener's understanding in subtle but significant ways. Clarifying context. Using context-appropriate synonyms can tailor the tone and style to suit the intended purpose and audience. For example, expired is more suitable than died in medical contexts, while joyous might be preferred over happy in more formal writing. Adding nuance. Synonyms introduce layers of meaning, offering new perspectives on familiar concepts. Words like self-assured and confident or frugal and stingy, while synonymous, carry different connotations and implications. Making connections. Identifying synonyms helps in recognizing conceptual connections and patterns. Understanding that big, enormous, and colossal all refer to size reveals a linguistic relationship. Avoiding repetition. Using a range of synonyms keeps writing and speech fresh and engaging, steering clear of redundant language. Expanding voice. A rich vocabulary of synonyms provides more avenues to express personal voice, style, and tone, enriching communication. Synonyms enrich expression, uncover insights, and shape language. They add layers to perspectives and offer a toolkit for conveying nuanced ideas. In the context of truth, examining synonyms like factuality, directness, sincerity, alignment with reality, fidelity, and integrity uncovers its multifaceted nature. This approach shows that truth encompasses more than accuracy. It includes authenticity and higher ethical values. Through this lens, truth gains depth and resonance, transforming from a vague philosophical concept into a tangible ethical practice marked by honesty, consistency, and moral courage. Comparing synonyms' shades of meaning prompts deeper reflection on their usage and implications. Why is veracity often linked with sincere communication? How does fidelity in relationships intersect with the idea of truth? Such inquiries peel back the layers of the complex concept of truth. Understanding truth requires context and multiple viewpoints. Each synonym offers a different perspective, highlighting certain aspects while obscuring others. Viewing these synonyms together allows for a comprehensive understanding of truth's dimensions and boundaries. This approach elevates truth from a mere dictionary definition to a virtue imbued with depth and significance. The power of synonyms in divine reference. When discussing the divine, the terminology we choose is significant, whether we refer to it as God, Allah, Jehovah, or any other name. I want to insightfully point out, excessively using one specific term to describe the highest spiritual power risks diminishing its impact over time. Therefore, a thoughtful use of synonyms in reference to the divine becomes a powerful practice. It helps maintain intentionality, express reverence, and foster a meaningful connection with the source of life. Overuse of any single word, especially when it pertains to something as awe-inspiring and mysterious as a higher power, can lead to it becoming a mere formality or cliché. Constant repetition can strip the word of its depth and significance. By consciously varying our vocabulary and employing different synonyms, from eloquent titles like Most High to simpler appellations like Creator, we preserve the profound sense of wonder and respect that should accompany any mention of the holy and eternal. The intention behind our choice of words is crucial. The language we use to describe spirituality and the divine should not only name but also instruct, guiding us towards truth and reverence. Viewing the diverse names for the divine across cultures and faiths as complementary perspectives rather than as contradictions opens us to a multifaceted relationship with the infinite. By embracing various synonyms allows us to deepen our connection to the divine in ways that a single term cannot fully capture. In our communion with the divine, developing this relationship is more important than the specific words we use. However, our choice of terminology lays the groundwork for this communion. The words we choose and our intentions behind them can either facilitate closeness or create distance with the divine. Using diverse and thoughtful synonyms in our references to the divine helps maintain the sanctity of the relationship between Creator and creation. The richness and breadth of our language reflect and reinforce the magnificence and limitlessness of the spiritual source. As this source permeates all aspects of existence, our language should mirror its vast and varied manifestations. Our words should draw us closer to the divine, not distance us. Thoughtful synonym usage preserves meaning and keeps us anchored in purpose as we navigate our spiritual journey. The vocabulary we choose opens doors to wisdom and awe if we allow it. While the divine transcends all labels, we, as mortal beings, rely on words to gesture towards the infinite. Defining truth through the language of virtue with synonym. Truth, while often perceived as an abstract concept, becomes more tangible and real when explored through its synonyms. Truth encompasses much more than just factual accuracy or correct information. It embodies deeper values such as transparency, consistency, honesty, integrity, sincerity, and authenticity, each adding a layer to its meaning. Transparency involves complete openness, revealing not just selective facts, but the full context, including one's motivations and thought processes. This openness fosters trust and understanding by providing a comprehensive picture. Consistency means aligning words with actions over time, demonstrating steadfast reliability. It reflects truthful intentions through a continuous and unwavering commitment to principles. Honesty is about sharing feelings and opinions candidly, without omitting or exaggerating details. It requires the bravery to communicate difficult truths with kindness, rather than resorting to comfortable half-truths. Integrity involves living out one's professed values and principles, even when it's challenging or comes at a personal cost. It's about being true to one's word, not distorting truths for convenience. Sincerity conveys truth through genuine expression and heartfelt intention. It adds depth and meaning to our expressions of goodwill, empathy, and purpose. Authenticity reflects the bravery of being true to oneself, guided by an inner compass rather than external pressures. It stems from understanding and unapologetically expressing one's core values and character. In summary, truth extends beyond mere accuracy to encompass a constellation of virtues like transparency, consistency, honesty, integrity, sincerity, and authenticity. These synonyms enrich our understanding of truth and provide practical guidelines for living it out in both significant and everyday ways.